Zara Williams sat surrounded by crumpled scholarship denials, a small mountain of lost hope scattered across the cheap laminate table. Each envelope, once a symbol of possibility, now lay torn and useless. Above her, the marble floors of the Sterling Hotel lobby gleamed like a monument to wealth and success. Down here in the employee break room, the air smelled faintly of bleach, detergent, and quiet despair. Her hands trembled as she reread the same line over and over. "We regret to inform you." Every rejection letter felt like a personal betrayal. Not because she wasn't qualified, but because she was. She had done everything right. The late nights, the grades, the community projects, all the things scholarship panels claimed to value. Yet every door had closed. A single tear splashed on the rejection letter from Northwestern University. Her dream school. Above her, through the humming of pipes and the faint sounds of distant footsteps, the empire of Marcus Sterling moved like a living machine. He was a man of numbers, precision, control, a self-made billionaire whose name adorned 47 hotels across the nation. People spoke of him like a legend. But that morning, for reasons he couldn't explain, Marcus Sterling felt something was off. He'd been reviewing quarterly performance metrics when a tiny note in an internal audit caught his eye. Employee Scholarship Fund, revised eligibility, reduced disbursements. It shouldn't have been possible. The fund had a $4 million endowment, no shortage, no revisions authorized by him. He pressed the elevator button, his reflection staring back at him in polished chrome. The elevator hummed softly as it descended toward the employee levels, a place he rarely visited. His Italian leather shoes clicked against marble as he stepped into a world he had built but hardly understood. The basement air was cooler, rougher, the fluorescent lights buzzing faintly above rows of steel lockers. He expected silence, but instead he heard it, the muffled, fragile sound of someone crying. Marcus paused. Inside the break room, a young girl sat hunched over a scarred wooden table, shoulders shaking. Papers surrounded her like fallen leaves. Acceptance letters, rejection letters, dreams torn apart by bureaucracy. "Excuse me," he said gently. "Are you okay?" The girl looked up, startled. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her face streaked with tears. Yet there was something unmistakable in her expression. Intelligence, dignity, fire. She looked familiar. Then it struck him. The resemblance. Janet Williams, his head housekeeper. 15 years of loyal service, never missing a day. "Oh, Mr. Sterling," she gasped, quickly trying to hide the papers. "I'm sorry, I didn't think anyone—" "It's all right," he interrupted softly, taking a seat across from her. His crisp suit seemed absurdly out of place in the dim room. "Talk to me, Zara. What's going on?" At the mention of her name, her composure cracked. Tears came freely now as she spread the letters across the table like evidence in a trial. "I got in," she whispered hoarsely. "Northwestern, Duke, Georgetown, all of them. Full academic acceptances. But," her voice broke, "the scholarship fund, your fund, rejected me." Marcus blinked. "The employee scholarship fund?" "Yes," she said, shoving a letter toward him. "They said I didn't meet the revised criteria, but sir, I have a 4.0 GPA. I'm valedictorian. I scored 1450 on my SATs." Marcus took the letter, reading it carefully. The language was corporate and sterile, full of words like budget constraints and qualification realignment. None of it made sense. He leaned back, feeling something shift inside him. "That's not possible," he muttered. "There are no budget constraints. The fund is fully endowed." Zara hesitated. "Mama knows 3 other families from the hotel, all black families. They were rejected too." She swallowed. "But Jessica Walsh, you know Mr. Walsh's daughter, she got it. Her GPA is 3.2. Marcus froze. Kevin Walsh, his regional manager, a man he had promoted twice for his efficiency. Something inside him tightened, a cold, deliberate anger rising like steel in his veins. "How long has your mother worked for me, Zara?" he asked quietly. 15 years, sir." "And has she ever asked for anything?" She shook her head, eyes full of pride. Mama says you earn respect through work, not words. Marcus stared at her for a long moment, then slowly stood. Zara, he said quietly, I need you to listen very carefully. This is not over. She looked up, startled. I said it's not over. His voice carried weight. Not the commanding bark of a CEO, but the steady conviction of a man who had been poor once and never forgot the taste of injustice. Don't make any decisions yet, he said. No enrollment withdrawals. No giving up. Promise me that. I promise. When he left the break room, his reflection in the elevator doors looked different. The same face, but colder, focused, determined. He wasn't just a businessman anymore. He was a man on a mission. That evening, Marcus didn't return to his penthouse suite overlooking the city skyline. He drove instead to the company's security division across town. The building was quiet, the lights dim. Inside, James Park, his head of security, looked up from his desk. Boss? I need an identity, Marcus said. New name, full background, employment history, and everything clean. James raised an eyebrow. You going undercover again? Marcus nodded. Maintenance division, starting Monday. James whistled low. You're serious? Dead serious, Marcus replied. Name it, Mike Johnson, 45, experience in repairs, no record. James scribbled notes. I can have it ready by morning. But Marcus... He hesitated. Why? Marcus stared out the window at the glittering city lights. Because someone's using my company to destroy people who trusted me. And I'm going to find out who. Sunday night, Marcus prepared himself in silence. Gone were the tailored suits, the Rolex, the aura of wealth. In their place, worn jeans, steel-toe boots, a plain navy work shirt. He practiced in the mirror, shoulders slightly hunched, eyes lowered. Mike Johnson, maintenance worker, invisible. He remembered what it felt like, the sting of condescension, the quiet assumption that you didn't belong. He'd buried that part of himself years ago when he became Mr. Sterling, but now he was resurrecting it, not as shame but as armor. By dawn, the transformation was complete. At 6:55 a.m., Monday morning, Mike Johnson clocked in at the Sterling Hotel downtown, Kevin Walsh's territory. He met Tom Rodriguez, the senior maintenance supervisor, a kind-eyed man with years of quiet endurance carved into his face. You must be the new guy, Tom said, shaking his hand. Welcome to the circus. Marcus smiled faintly. Just happy to work, sir. Tom chuckled. Keep that attitude. Around here, it's the only thing that'll keep you off Mr. Walsh's radar. The day passed in a blur of sweat and silence, fixing light fixtures, unclogging drains, moving unseen through the belly of the hotel. But by 9 a.m., everything changed. Kevin Walsh walked in, tall, sharp suit, smug smile, the kind of man who radiated authority, but not respect. His voice cut through the air like a whip. Rodriguez. These overtime numbers look inflated. Yes, sir. The convention last week, I said no excuses. Walsh's gaze swept the room until it landed on Marcus. Who's this? New hire. Mike Johnson. Walsh walked closer, eyes narrowing. You have experience? Yes, sir. 15 years. Good. I like efficient men. Just remember, we don't tolerate union nonsense or entitlement here. Do your job, keep your head down, and you'll be fine. Marcus nodded slowly. Yes, sir. Walsh smirked. See? That's the right attitude. Some people could learn from you. Marcus watched him walk away, his heart pounding with a rage so deep it felt ancient. Walsh had looked at him, a black man, and seen obedience. A good one. He had no idea who he was talking to. That night in his rented car, Marcus sat in silence, hands gripping the steering wheel. The fluorescent glow of the parking lot lights reflected in his eyes. He'd seen enough in one day to know the truth. Zara's pain wasn't an isolated mistake. It was part of a system, a machine of discrimination running quietly beneath the marble floors. And tomorrow he would tear it apart from the inside. By Friday afternoon, Marcus had all the evidence he needed. He'd spent 5 days living as Mike Johnson, the invisible man who fixed leaky pipes and broken elevators. But what he really repaired was something far more important: the truth. Hidden cameras in his maintenance belt captured everything: racist comments, falsified documents, manipulated time cards, and emails proving the scholarship fund had been twisted into a weapon. He had also recorded Kevin Walsh's casual cruelty, the way he bragged about efficiency while stealing opportunity from hardworking families. Marcus had seen men like him before, powerful on paper, hollow inside. But this one was personal, because this time the victims weren't strangers. They were his people, his employees, his family. Monday morning came. Marcus walked into work one last time as Mike Johnson. In his pocket, a hidden recorder blinked faintly, ready for the final confession. Walsh called him into his office. "Mike, close the door," he said, smiling as if welcoming an old friend. Marcus obeyed silently. "I've been impressed with you," Walsh began, leaning back in his chair. "You've got the right attitude, not like some of these people who always want special treatment." Marcus said nothing. Walsh continued, his voice oily with pride. "I'm expanding our efficiency program nationwide. I need someone I can trust, someone who understands how we manage certain employees. How about a promotion? Maintenance supervisor in Boston. Double the pay." Marcus stayed calm, his eyes unreadable. "What would I have to do?" Walsh grinned. "Same thing you've seen me do. Keep the workforce clean. Make sure problem employees, the ones who complain or ask too many questions and don't last long. And that scholarship fund? Keep it selective. We can't waste money on people who don't fit the brand." He chuckled as if he'd told a harmless joke. Marcus leaned forward slightly. "Selective how?" Walsh shrugged. "Come on, Mike, you know what I mean. Some families just don't understand opportunity. They take and take. It's better to invest in workers who are loyal. People who look the part, if you know what I mean." He smirked, a smirk Marcus would never forget. "That scholarship fund alone," Walsh went on, tapping a folder on his desk, "has $300,000 just sitting there. I redirected most of it into performance bonuses. You'd be amazed how easy it is. No one questions it because I write the reports myself. The beautiful part is they think it's merit-based." Marcus nodded slowly. "So you're stealing from them?" Walsh laughed. "Stealing? Please. It's called reallocation. They'll never know." That was the moment Marcus decided to end it. He straightened, shoulders squared, voice calm but deadly. "Mr. Walsh," he said, "I think it's time you knew who you've been talking to." Walsh frowned. "What are you talking about?" Marcus reached into his pocket and placed his real ID on the desk. "I'm not Mike Johnson," he said evenly. "I'm Marcus Sterling, owner and CEO of Sterling Hotels." The blood drained from Walsh's face. "You're lying." Marcus met his eyes, no smile, no mercy. "No, Kevin. You've been bragging about your crimes to your boss." Walsh stumbled back. You set me up." "I exposed you," Marcus corrected coldly. "Because men like you hide behind rules and policies to justify hate." He pressed play on his phone. Walsh's recorded voice filled the room. "We can't waste educational resources on families that won't appreciate them. They fall in line when their jobs are threatened." Each line landed like a hammer. Walsh's face crumpled. That's out of context." Marcus glared. "You stole $250,000 from families like the Williams. You terrorized employees, fabricated evaluations, and destroyed futures. That's not business, Kevin, that's evil." He stepped closer, his presence towering. "You call yourself a manager, but you're a coward. You built your career on fear and lies." Security entered at Marcus's signal. "Escort Mr. Walsh from the building," he said calmly. "He's terminated immediately." Walsh panicked. "You can't do this." "I'll sue. Marcus cut him off. "You'll what?" "Sue me for firing you after you confessed to embezzlement and discrimination. Please be my guest." The guard seized him by the arms. As he was dragged toward the door, Marcus added quietly, "That promotion you offered me, I'm giving it to Janet Williams." Walsh froze. "She's the new regional director. She'll decide the scholarships from now on." The door slammed shut behind him. And just like that, the empire of Kevin Walsh collapsed. That afternoon, Marcus called an emergency meeting of all staff. The conference room was packed wall to wall, housekeepers in uniforms, Maintenance workers, front desk clerks, kitchen staff, their faces reflected confusion and fear. At the front, Marcus stood not as a billionaire but as one of them. "Thank you for coming," he began. "I know this is sudden, but what I have to tell you can't wait." He gestured toward the projector screen. A voice echoed through the speakers. Walsh's voice. "We can't waste educational resources on families that won't appreciate them." A hush fell over the room. "That," Marcus said, "is your former regional manager, explaining why our scholarship fund rejected your children." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "For 3 years," Marcus continued, "Kevin Walsh stole over $250,000 meant to send your kids to college. He gave it to himself and other managers. He denied qualified students because of their race, and he used fear to keep you all silent." At the front row, Janet Williams sat frozen. Her daughter's rejection suddenly made sense. Tears filled her eyes. "But that ends today," Marcus said firmly. He turned toward Janet. "Miss Williams, please stand." She hesitated, trembling. "For 15 years, you've served this company with loyalty and grace. From this moment on, you are promoted to Regional Diversity and Inclusion Director, with full authority over hiring, scheduling, and scholarship programs." The room erupted in applause. Some people cried openly. Janet covered her face in disbelief. Marcus waited for silence, then continued. "Every student who was denied a scholarship will now receive full funding, plus compensation. Starting with your daughter, Zara Williams, who will attend Northwestern University with a full ride." The applause grew thunderous. "Second," Marcus said, his voice cutting through the noise, "we're forming employee oversight committees at every property, elected by you, not appointed by management. No more retaliation, no more silence." He looked out over the sea of faces, hopeful, tearful, defiant. "Third, transparency. Every policy, every schedule, every decision will be open for review. Sterling Hotels was built on the idea that hospitality begins with respect. That starts now." Janet spoke softly, voice trembling but strong. "Mr. Sterling."
"Thank you."
"For seeing us," Marcus smiled. "No, Janet, thank you for reminding me who we really are." Weeks passed, the change was visible, not in the marble or chandeliers, but in the people. Smiles replaced fear. Workers greeted each other with pride instead of caution. In the break room, once filled with exhaustion, laughter echoed. On the walls, photos of scholarship recipients now shone proudly, including Zara, her acceptance letter framed beneath. Janet worked tirelessly, reviewing applications and rebuilding trust. One afternoon, she approached Marcus with news. "We've approved 14 scholarships this week, including 6 new ones. Zara's already started at Northwestern." Marcus smiled. "Good. Let her know I expect her to visit when she graduates." Janet laughed, eyes glistening. "She says she wants to work for you one day." "Tell her," Marcus replied. "I'd be honored to work for her." Months later, a company-wide ceremony celebrated the first anniversary of the Sterling Employee Empowerment Initiative. Employees from every branch gathered, many with families beside them. Children in bright college sweatshirts ran through the halls their parents once cleaned. Marcus took the stage, his voice filled with quiet pride. "This isn't my success," he said. "It's ours. For years we built walls that divided us. Now we're building bridges that lift us." He looked at Janet in the front row, and beyond her, the faces of people who finally believed they mattered. "In business," Marcus continued, "profits can measure growth, but people measure greatness. And from this day on, that's what Sterling Hotels will stand for." The room rose in applause. As the crowd cheered, Marcus looked at the photo display on the wall. Dozens of young faces, full of possibility. Zara's photo stood in the center, her smile bright as dawn. He thought of the day he found her crying in that basement room, of the injustice that woke something in him he'd almost forgotten. His humanity. Now, the same walls that once hid her tears echoed with laughter and life. The empire was still his. But for the first time, it truly belonged to everyone who built it. And in that truth, Marcus Sterling found not just redemption, but legacy.